Flag state authorization for the use of vessel protection detachments or privately contracted armed security personnel. As discussed in previous chapters, the first condition for the use of PCASP to protect a merchant ship is to obtain the authorization from the flag state. Analyzing the domestic legislation of the main maritime countries to the effect is thus clearly important. This study comprises 55 countries, representing 71.46% of the world's fleet of large merchant ships, limited for purposes of this research to bulk carriers, container ships, general cargo ships, and oil tankers. Open registry countries, no prohibition of the use of armed personnel. 9 open registry countries, Antigua and Barbuda, the Bahamas, Bermuda, Liberia, Panama, Cyprus, Isle of Man, Malta, and the Marshall Islands represent 33.66% of the world's fleet of large merchant vessels. They are also represent the majority of all bulk carriers, 53.8%, and container ships, 54.87%. Within this group of countries, Panama represents 40.59% of the group total of ships. Quite remarkably, in none of these countries is there a legal prohibition towards the use of private security guards, nor is there any prohibition on the use of firearms by PCASP. Antigua and Barbuda, the Bahamas, Bermuda, Liberia, Panama, and the Isle of Man, Malta, and the Marshall Islands all have national official guidance toward the use of PCASP, but only Cyprus has adopted specific legislation towards their use, including particular provision with respect to application and the issuance of certificate. The reluctance toward the use of PCASP by the countries other than Cyprus is illustrated by the official guidance of the Department of Marine Services and Merchant Shipping, or ADOMS, of Antigua and Barbuda, which state, while the laws of Antigua and Barbuda do not explicitly prohibit the employment of privately contracted armed security personnel or PCASP on board Antigua and Barbuda flagged ship, ADOMS support the IMO's position that the use of PCASP should not be considered as an alternative to best management practices and other protective measures. Although ADOMS recognizes that ship owners, ship operators, and shipmasters have the right and the responsibility to take or execute any decision which is necessary for the safety and security of the vessel and its crew, the department recommends that ship owners should only consider the option of placing armed guards or PCASP on board if a risk assessment indicates that this is the best way to ensure the safety of the seafarers on board and the ship. The concern is shared by the Isle of Man Ship Registry, which state, while neither endorsing nor prohibiting the use of privately contracted armed security personnel or PCASP, recognizes that vessel owners, operators, or managers would not wish to make their vessel identified target, but also recognizes that it may be difficult to identify reliable, professional private providers of armed security services. In terms of the Merchant Shipping Act 1995, a PCASP on board an Isle of Man registered vessel is a seaman. Seaman includes every person except masters and pilots employed or engaged in any capacity on board any ship, and as such, Section 282 of the Act will apply. Section 282 of the Act makes any act in relation to property or person done in or at any place, ashore or afloat, outside the Isle of Man by any master or seaman who at the time of the Act is employed in an Isle of Man ship, which if the Act had been committed in the Isle of Man would be an offence under the law of the Isle of Man. An offence that will be treated for the purposes of jurisdiction and trial as if it had been done within the jurisdiction of the appropriate court in the Isle of Man. As a result, if a PCASP were to shoot, whether accidentally or not, another person whilst being on board an Isle of Man registered vessel, then the incident would be treated as a shooting on the Isle of Man. A criminal investigation and potentially a trial would be the outcome. With regards to the widespread use of PCASP, the Bahamas Maritime Authority expressed the concern that the uncontrolled use of firearm for deterrence and defense could have serious consequences. Thus, quite logically, while not endorsing the use of PCASP, the Bahamas recognizes the right and duty of a ship owner to protect the crew and the fact that armed response may be utilized on board Bahamas ship. Any decision to engage PCASP should follow due consideration of all the risks and consultation with insurers. Regarding military armed guard, the Bahamas have previously agreed to boarding by foreign troops in specific circumstances for escort duties on their registered ship when in piracy-prone areas. The Republic of the Marshall Islands, or RMI, has a similar position to the aforementioned countries. Neither RMI legislation nor regulation prohibit the use of PMSC, the PCASP they provide, or VPDs. Interesting, however, is the provision of the Marshall Islands Weapon Control Act, which states, in part, that the prohibition on the possession of firearms shall not apply for the sole purpose of enhancing the safety and security of any Republic of the Marshall Islands registered vessel against acts or attempted acts of terrorism, piracy, armed robbery, or hijacking, and in accordance with the Republic of the Marshall Islands Maritime Act, any Republic of the Marshall Islands registered vessel not trading within internal waters of the Republic of the Marshall Islands, including all individuals embarked or transferring firearm or dangerous devices to or from the vessel at the request of the vessel's owner, operator, or master. Europe, from Vessel Protection Detachment to privately contracted armed security personnel. In 2011, the Netherlands was the first European state to begin offering Vessel Protection Detachment, or VPDs, to its ship owners. Several other states, including France, Spain, Israel, and Italy, have also hired out the military personnel to guard commercial vessels flying their flag. Currently, more and more European countries are adapting their domestic legal framework in order to legalize the use of privately contracted armed security personnel, or PCASP, on board merchant ships flying their flag. Nowadays, the group of countries that allows private armed guards on board comprises, among others, the United Kingdom, Norway, which legally authorized the use of PCASP in 2011, and Denmark, Greece, Cyprus, and Italy, which legally authorized the use of PCASP in 2012. To be noted, however, is the fact that Italy allows the use of PCASP, but only when VPD protection falls short, thus making this option complementary to VPD protection instead of supplementary. The United Kingdom also allows for the use of VPD, but only on military ships and not to protect merchant vessels. Thank you.